Hey friends, and welcome to another video. In this one I'm going to be showing you how I made a super simple track for my circular saw, and I'll even show you all the mistakes that I made along the way. And believe me, there are a few. This is Who Can Craft, and let's get into the video. So I recently borrowed a friend's DeWalt plunge saw to do some kitchen cupboards, and after using it I decided I needed one, but soon realised that they were dirty expensive, so I decided to make my own for as little as possible. I went onto Facebook Marketplace and found someone who was getting rid of some leftover laminate flooring for free, so I contacted them and put them straight in my basket. Now, what's the best thing that you've managed to get for free from online marketplaces like this? Let me know in the comments below, and if you do leave comments, I'll make absolutely sure to reply to every single one. I then went to my local hardware store where I grabbed a piece of long aluminium, or aluminum for the Americans, which would slide through the groove in the base of my circular saw. That's it. That's all I needed. Time to build. Now, every video that I've seen about making these homemade tracks required adding a mountable base plate to slide the saw up and down the length of the track. Now, seeing as my circular saw base plate has a groove which was perfect for the size of the aluminium track, I thought I'd forego this attachment and just keep it simple. But here's the problem. I noticed that the laminate that I managed to get for free was in fact rather thin, and cutting the required depth would mean it would only leave a super thin piece to hold the track in place. Now, I didn't want this, so I needed to glue two pieces together or find a thicker piece of wood. I thought to save time, I just glued the two pieces together. I sanded the laminate down a little on the sides that would be joined to create a more adhesive friendly surface, as the laminate was extremely smooth, so it needed a little roughness to it. I then used this amazing Gorilla Glue which sticks more or less anything to anything, but before applying it I had to wipe the laminate down with a wet cloth, well in this case a wet kitchen towel, as the glue needs moisture to act as a catalyst to set, but when it sets, it's solid. I applied the glue, which was a little difficult as it needed a fair bit of squeezing to get it out of the tube, and my skinny little arms couldn't manage it. Now, as you can see, I didn't completely cover the laminate in glue, instead I just gave it enough for it to grip each other, and then clamped the two pieces together and left it for 24 hours to set. The next day I grabbed my new router, which was an absolute steal, second-hand, Facebook Marketplace again, £20, and it included a box of router bits too. Now, this was going to be the first time I'd ever used a router, so I was a little unsure as to what the results would be. I'd say they probably ended up mixed, to put it politely. It was going well, but mistakes were definitely made. I didn't realise just how much side pressure I needed to apply to ensure the router stayed in a straight line. Also, I definitely didn't tighten the router bit enough, as it started to loosen halfway through, which caused this gouge that literally went right through to the other side of the board. I really do hope you're enjoying this video and getting some useful information out of it, as well as being hopefully mildly entertained. I don't like to ask for subscribers and likes until I've gotten a little deeper into the video, so that I've at least shown you something of value. Now, with that being said, if you have found this video entertaining so far and you're considering making a similar circular saw track to this, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit that like button. Also, if these videos are a bit of you and you feel like you could really get something from the ones I'll be doing in the future, then please do consider hitting that subscribe button and the little bell icon. It really does help me out and helps to push this content to others who have similar interests. Thank you so much, and I really do appreciate it. With the routing done, albeit rather crudely, I set out to fix the aluminium bar to the track. I wet wiped the aluminium bar and the groove I'd made with the router with a wet cloth to act as the catalyst for the glue. I then squeezed the glue into the groove all the way from one end to the other, and then placed the aluminium bar inside. I wanted to make sure it was well and truly fixed in there, so I placed a large sleeper on there along with some bricks to weigh it down. Now I needed to wait 24 hours for the glue to set. After this, I needed to make sure that the track didn't move about when I wanted to use it to cut those straight lines. For this, I put some aluminium tape that I'd lying around on the length of the underside of the track. Obviously you don't have to use aluminium tape for this, I just had some lying around from a previous job, so decided to put it to good use. You can just use whatever tape you have, even normal masking tape is fine. I then got some all-purpose clear silicone and spread it along the bottom. It's not been recorded, but later on I actually wiped this all off after it had dried and used the white silicone instead. I did this because I realised that once the clear silicone had dried, it was quite tacky and still a little wet, which wasn't what I wanted. The white silicone seemed to work fine in the end though. I then got a piece of cardboard and gently spread the silicone into a nice thin strip along the board. These strips of silicone will act to increase friction between the board and the surface it's placed on so that it doesn't move while sawing. Once the silicone had been spread nicely and evenly, I carefully removed the tape one strip at a time and allowed the silicone to dry for another 24 hours. The end was in sight. The next step was to run the saw once against the length of the track to cut off the very edge, and this left me with the perfect track for cutting my straight lines. Now with that edge cut off, it runs smoothly up and down and is the perfect distance from the blade from the circular saw. And here is the final product being used to cut a straight edge off a piece of pallet wood, which is something I'm going to be doing a lot of in the very near future. It does a brilliant job, and even though it's a little rough and ready, it's more than good enough for now. Looking back now, would I change anything about this? Yeah, well, I think I would. Firstly, the two pieces of laminate glued together is actually a little cumbersome. The glue actually worked wonders and it's incredibly strong, but it does make the track a little heavy. Not a huge deal, but just something to work on towards in the next attempt. I'd probably also make the track a little longer, as this one is only 1 meter long. And lastly, if I was to do it again, I'd probably not bother with cutting out the groove with a router. Instead, I'd probably just screw the bar to the track, ensuring the countersunk screws were used. Maybe I'll do this again in a future video, let's call it part 2. Well, what do you think of this simple and crude circular saw track? Positives, negatives, constructive criticisms, I'll take them all on board. Please do leave a comment below to let me know. Anyway, I do hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!